What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 6, Episode 14. And it's called Chapter 110, Things That Go Bump in the Night.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the end of the podcast. We're going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments, our best lines, our MVPs, and all of your recap roundups. You guys are sending us so many, and we love it. So be sure to stick around for the end of the podcast for that.
As always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the episode.
Let's get into it. I'm very curious to see what you have to say about this one.
You know what? I feel like this was, in the world of filler episodes, this felt like a filler episode.
Agreed.
It led to something. There were some things that were pretty key that we needed to see to kind of get the story, because obviously if we didn't get this episode, none of next episode would make sense. But it felt very like, oh, okay, now we gotta like move Pop's diner into a truck. Like, since like why? Like, there were just a lot of things about the episode that I was like, okay, like let's get to the next thing. How about you?
Yeah, 100% agreed. There were some great moments, like the Jughead and Veronica storyline. Like, it's a random pivot, but I did enjoy it.
Random.
I did enjoy it. I thought it was cute, but like, it was
like
definitely a filler.
It's like they were trying to fill, and like to your point, that's a really good one, because like having Jughead and Veronica, we haven't seen them together on screen just doing their own thing for like years probably at this point. So like just to even see them on screen, it was nice, but at the same time it was like, okay, like was that necessary? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's get into the episode. So it starts right off with our girl Cheryl catching up with her long lost love, Heather. So Heather's back.
Heather, guys, brace yourselves. Because there's going to be a lot of Heather this episode, and
she came here to slay. Like,
hatred for her.
Yeah, like we heard, we saw, we know how y'all feel about our girl Heather. But jeez Louise. So Heather talks about the fact that like her mom died. She's like kind of just sussing Cheryl out. She asks if she's single, and Cheryl does. And one of the things that I think even one of our listeners, CHONI, I thought it was like there was no mention of CHONI last episode, while everyone else kind of had a moment. This was Cheryl's CHONI moment, where she talks about Tony, how they did have a relationship.
She finally mentions her name.
Yeah, she finally talks about her relationship with her, and she says like, you know, it was great. It just, we kind of like grew apart. We had different lives.
Hearing that tone, I was very taken aback actually by that, because I will agree, like there's not even a mention of CHONI.
Yes, true.
For like months. So the fact that she does bring her up, and her tone was like very casual. She was like, we just like, that was like my great love, but like we found like our different path, and like it just like took us, and like she spoke about it in such a casual way, and like it sounded like she was so at terms with where they were in their lives that I felt okay with it. I was like, oh, like, true. Okay, so you guys are on different paths. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, she talks about the fact that she's single. And Cheryl does talk about trying to maybe make Thornhill a private library, which is why Heather kind of needs to stick around. I was like, a great way to kind of keep your girl around, like cute. Then it cuts to Pop's diner, and Tabitha is talking to Pops and Jughead about the diner basically not being able to be considered a landmark. Because I guess at that point, Percival already kind of sideswiped her and like thought about it. And now he's like got something else going on, and the mirror was like, sorry. So her next idea, which she talks about a little bit later, she's like, I have an idea though. Like, well, let's figure this out. Cuts to the FBI office, and we get our first experience with like Agent Drizzy Drake and Betty coming through.
What's her first name? Because the
Jillian. Her name's Jillian.
So Jillian. So she's like, my name is Jillian Drake, but you could call me Jillian. Or Drake.
Whatever you want.
Whichever one you want. And then Betty's like, okay, Drake?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It was so weird.
She even tells her at one point, so she's talking to her about her trauma with her mom and like what had happened last episode. And Agent Drake tells her, she's like, you need to move out of that place. It is toxic. It is traumatic. You might need to move out with like a boyfriend or like maybe a girlfriend, like whatever you need, girl. Like she just like the entire episode, obviously everyone felt it. The hint, wink, wink. come on through to Drake's little party house. Like,
and so much so that we actually lurked Betty's phone this week. And there's actually a really good phone lurk on our Instagram. You guys should check it out. And she might have had a little texty text from Miss Agent Drake. So go check it out on our Instagram.
See what's popping over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is when she tells her, like, you can call me Jillian. Wink.
Yeah. She's like,
what do you think about this situation?
First of all, I was dead at the entire conversation. I could not stop laughing because she's like, so you're gonna go to like your boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend? Like, and she's like, yeah, my boyfriend. She's like, oh, your boyfriend. Okay.
She's like, cool.
Why wouldn't she just say like, yeah, like, why wouldn't she just say like, make sure you go to your friends and don't make sure you're not alone, like, and not be at your house. Like the way she like pivoted to being such a like, she's like, call me like later.
A lurky moment.
Like, it was, but I do like her character.
Yeah.
I like that Betty finally has someone like at work that's like legit and like not psycho, that she can actually like bounce ideas off of.
For sure.
You guys, like, it sounds like a lot of our watchers love the chemistry between these two. And I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know if that's going to be a potential love story for Betty.
Right. We can talk about it a little bit later, but I'm thinking I have an idea of what they're going to do with her character, but I'm not 100% sure. So then it cuts to Betty visiting Archie, and then she asks to move in. And I wrote down, and he's like, yeah, absolutely. I was like,
she was already living there.
I know, that was my thing. I was like, why aren't you, like, why haven't we gotten past that point already? Yeah. Like, they already had a pregnancy. Like, they thought they were pregnant at one point, like 2 weeks ago.
It's not like she's getting along with her mom anyway. So, like, it would have made total, they live right next door. She could literally keep her clothes there and still, like, live at Archie's.
Exactly. So, I was kind of annoyed. I'm like, Drake having to tell you to like leave your like family home filled with trauma, like maybe you could have done that like years ago.
She made it seem like she's giving her like the best advice. It was like, yeah, that's common sense.
She's like, that cool, but also she didn't take it all these years, so maybe it was good advice for Betty to finally hear it. So yeah, Archie's down obviously, and then it cuts to Tony and Fangs talking to the social worker about the custody battle. So they be having some issues this week about the fact that they basically have criminal records. They're both a part of a gang. And then poor Tony is just out here trying to like be like, but like I have a master's, like I'm his mom. Like she's just trying to floss a little bit. And the woman, she was basically like, what's her name? Jenny?
Yeah, it was Janet. Yeah.
She's like, that's not enough. Like you guys need like a kingpin, like a big situation to like solidify you guys in this custody battle. First of all, I don't know how you feel, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm over this custody battle storyline. Period.
So over it.
Like on period. Like I just don't want it.
Tony was going in such a great path.
Yeah.
And she had such a like clear mission. And now I feel like it's been like sideswiped because like she has to deal with this dumb bullshit from Kevin Keller.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
it's just frustrating to know that like Kevin's behind all of this and like why do we have to deal with it? How are they gonna like heal from this? And if they do heal from it, are we gonna be fine with it? Like you're going through a custody battle. That's fucking serious shit. And like now we have to get into the nitty gritty with a fucking.
And why does Tony have to prove herself?
Worker?
She's already proven herself so many freaking times to us. Like she could raise that kid on her own. She doesn't even need Fangs.
She doesn't need Fangs, but like that's what I mean. I just feel like all of it is kind of frustrating to watch. So I wasn't really for any of Tony and
Fangs and it's like really frustrating to watch him act because it's really
God, everybody comment in.
Dude, there's comments this week about his acting too. I'm like, it's not just me. Like it's when he overacts, and it's true. Like Vanessa Morgan's like here, and she's like holding the scene down, and I'm like, oh my God. And then like he comes in and he's like overacting, and I'm like, oh, like you had to ruin the mood. I don't know. I'm just
Anyways. Just kind of over that whole situation.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Tabitha and she's talking to Archie and she decides that she's going to tear down Pops and put it temporarily in storage. At this point, I don't think she even talks about the El Royale at all. She's just like, I think we just need to move it because if they don't move it at a certain point in time, then all of it becomes Percival's ownership. So she just wants to get it out.
And she makes a good point. She's like, clearly this is something that he wants to destroy.
Right.
So clearly this is an important part of the entire battle that's about to take place. Like she sort of put that together to be like, this is the essence of the good side.
Riverdale.
We can't lose this, you know?
Yeah. So he's like, okay, cool. Let's get going. I'll get some people together. So then it cuts to Jughead, and he's bored. That's basically the only reason why he comes out to help Veronica, because he was bored out of his mind in his apartment. As if there's nothing better to do. Like, go help your girlfriend.
Why are you
like,
so bored?
Go do something else. I don't know. So he gets a text from Veronica basically saying, like, come through. He comes by the Babylonium, and her situation is she needs money for these investors. And her idea to do this money thing is to use his like mind reading powers to run a little show. I was like, Veronica, of all of the money schemes that you've come up with to make money, this was your big money pull. Like this, you own a casino, you used to own like a diamond shop. You're like, I'm going to use your powers to get what? $5 at admission? Like, what are you doing?
I know.
I just didn't understand.
I didn't mind it so much. I didn't mind it so much because at this point I'm like, whatever. Okay, use Jughead. To me, what killed me was she was like, Jughead, take a seat. She's like, we're gonna do this magic show. Okay.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna charge 60-40 my way.
Yeah.
Bitch, you're using his talents. What are you offering?
You're
literally doing nothing. Without him, this doesn't exist. Yeah. And she has the audacity to be like 60-40. And he's like, no. He's like 50-50.
At the very
Which at
least.
this point, it's like, why does he even need money? Like, what are you, like, scrounging? Like, you need, like, cash? Like, I didn't understand it. It was cute. It was whatever. I was like, I was fine with it.
I'll take it. It's a scheme. Yeah. Like, that's a thing, right? Like, we were talking, getting Veronica and Jughead together, it's not easy. So clearly they just needed this.
They did make it seem like earlier when they like teased the fact that like Jughead and Veronica would have like a storyline, they kind of teased it as like, oh, they're gonna have a storyline.
Yeah.
There's negative sexual chemistry there between these two characters.
Zero.
And there will never be chemistry with like that kind of chemistry. They just won't.
Like, it's not gonna happen.
It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure. They do have like something that happens later that I'm kind of I got more interested in, but this show was kind of not necessary. So then it cuts into Archie with his construction team to tear down Pops. They're all like, yes, let's go. Let's do this. Then we have Tony and Fangs talking after work, and he's like stressed. He's like, I don't know. I've got to pick up another job or a shift, or like there's a new construction job going with Archie and whatever. And he's like, I don't want to look like a freeloader. Like I look like a loser right now on paper. I need to do more. And Tony has to like calm him down and be like, don't worry. We'll make this work. We'll figure it out. Not a problem.
Like, she was amazing. Like,
once again, Tony just like leading the charge as always. Then it cuts to the Cooper residence, and Betty comes in and she sees the twins playing with a new cat. Now, danger zone. She sees the cat, and obviously
this red
she's, like,
aura thing
triggered.
Was killing me this episode.
I know.
Oh my god!
First of all, they have special effects, but the special effects in the aura department are just like they're not it. It looks like I've seen TikTok filters that are better. So she's like. She's out here talking to Dagwood and Juniper, and they have this new cat because Alice got them a new cat. And she starts staring at the kids, and Dagwood has like a red aura when he's talking about how excited he is to play with this cat. I was like, oh God, like these kids are going to kill this cat. So obviously Betty like slowly takes the cat away. She's like, I'll be back. Like, just got to like get the shots in and whatever. And the kids are like, okay, cool. Like these
bring it back ASAP.
Yeah, freaking like creepy weirdos kids sitting there. Then it cuts to Pop's diner, and they're breaking it all down. And I don't know if you noticed this or like why they shot this, but I think I have a reason. At one point, the gumball machine falls and shatters all over the floor. And there's like a very close-up shot of like Tony looking, or not Tony, Tabitha being like, oh, like it shattered.
Yeah. My gumballs.
Like, yeah, I know, my gumballs, 25 cents. So I was like, okay, I guess I have to pay attention to this. So I have a theory about that a little bit later. Then it cuts to the FBI office, and Betty is talking to Jillian about the twins and her aura powers. So she kind of talks it out, and she's like, so I have this power that I'm able to see auras. They start talking about aura powers. Like, seems like Jillian has all this information on what her ability is. But then she talks about the fact that she has like a bit of a blind spot because she's not able to see it in everyone, and she's unable to see it in the TBK,
right?
And also only one of the kids was glowing, it wasn't the other one.
Right.
So then she's like, okay, well, maybe you can test them for the serial killer gene, the kids. So then she's like, okay,
I can't
cool.
believe we're back here again.
Like, why are we still talking about the serial? They've
here.
tied and weaved the serial killer gene into this entire storyline.
Like, they're obsessed with this freaking storyline. Like, I'm gonna go make a gene so that you guys can have it because you're so obsessed with it.
Obsessed with it.
Like, get over yourself. Yeah. Like, M-O-M-A. They kept saying it. I'm like, I'm so over this storyline.
M-O-M-A. That's exactly what it sounds like. Oh my God. So yeah, so we're back at the freaking serial killer gene, and she takes them to Dr. Curdle Jr. to like get these swabs or whatever. And his face was even like, ooh, these kids, these poor kids are like, everyone's shafting them. Then it cuts to Heather with Cheryl, and she starts to do like a little witch spell to like, I don't know, cleanse the air. I forget what she's doing exactly, but she's like doing something. Cheryl says that she's got a little bit of witch in her as well. And she asks, and then I think this is when Heather kind of talks about her past and the fact that she was kind of a part of like a little like Wiccan crew. She was like, I was more than a Wiccan. I was like actually a witch.
It's a real thing.
And then Cheryl says like, I have powers as well. Maybe you can help me like control them or tell me all you know. Like she's like, teach me everything you know about being a witch.
There was a couple of
was cute.
Yeah, there was a couple of throws that I just want to quickly like cover off. So when she first gets there, she does say, she's like, how's your like Cheryl's like, how's your mom? She's like, oh, my mom's dead. She's like, she died in an accident. And I was like, oh, did you kill your mom? I was like,
oh,
alert.
Yeah, you killed your mom.
Well, I was just, the way they said it, she was like, she died in an accident. And then Cheryl's like, how gothic? And I was like, like, is this girl as good as she claims to be? I hope she is. I hope she is, because like I do like her character. But like, is there more that we don't know about?
Right.
Having said that, also she does reference Greendale. She's like, I am from Greendale. Like, I'm a witch, whatever. So is this going to be the Sabrina connection? Like, we still don't know, but like, I'm really excited to see what path we go down with Heather.
It 100% has to be the connection to Sabrina, just because she's from Greendale, and now she says she had like basically a coven in Greendale, so it could only be the coven of the Spellman sisters. Yeah. Like that's the only coven that I could think of. But it would be interesting, to your point, if like you find out later from Sabrina, like, oh, Heather was like the crazy one. That's what I'm saying.
Like they're from like another coven. Like
like maybe she like worked with like the
dark magic or something.
Worked in dark magic or something. Because you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, she's not like she's a temporary character, so we always assume like she's either going to be there for a hot minute for just a teacher or something, or is she like actually evil?
Yeah.
So anyway, still kind of up in the air with her at that point. Cuts to Pop's diner, and Percival comes in with Frank, and as everyone's working, he offers everyone a new job, but working for the railroad. And he says there's going to be no union dues. And then Fangs right away is like, I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, he's like, sick.
And a few other people, I think, also leave. But everyone's
and also like, they're getting paid like triple the amount. Like their pay was more too.
So obviously, like, Archie's like, what the hell? Like, we always unionize our jobs. Like, that's what my dad always fought for. And he kind of even looks at Frank and he's like, you know this. Like, you know, like that was important to my dad to make sure that they were unionized. Anyway, Frank as a douchebag just kind of walks out with Percival, and now Fangs is kind of like off this job. So cool.
Like,
thanks
already.
a lot.
Like, he literally worked half a day and he was like already done.
Half a day, he was done. Then it cuts to the Babylonium, and Veronica starts to sing another song.
Toxic.
Yeah, unfortunately it wasn't toxic. It was like some next weird other Broadway song, and then they do the show. So then they show you see a little montage of Jughead doing the show, and he's guessing everybody's numbers correctly, and he was like, wow. And the last shot is of Reggie kind of in the corner watching the show, and he's kind of just like lurking. He like wants in on that cut, you know what I mean? So Pop's the next day. everything that they put into the truck to move is now back in the diner. And I wrote down, but the gumball machine that was in the corner is now also intact. So then I wrote down, is it magic? Because I didn't know at that point there were like ghosts involved. So
right.
So for a part of me at this point in time was like, oh, are they going to reveal that like Pops cannot move? Like everything about it is like a staple, which kind of, like it'll never be able to be moved. So then Tabitha obviously thinks it's Percival. She's like, that motherfucker. He like came in and like put everything in there. So she goes and talks to Percival. She goes to the curiosity shop. She like reams in on him. She's like, I don't know what your fucking obsession with this is of me is, but you got to stop right now. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do nothing. And she tips over like a vase. She walks out. She's like, I hate you. The end. Like, I don't know. There's nothing else to say about that scene. So then it cuts to Pop's diner, and as they're like moving stuff around, the jukebox goes off. Like it starts playing, and then next thing you know, all you hear is like someone being like, Archie, someone just got electrocuted from the jukebox. So
you heard like the sizzle. You're like, I'm like, oh my God.
I was like, oh my God, someone literally got electrocuted. Like, that's serious. So something's going weird in Pop's, obviously. Then it cuts back to another storyline. Dr. Curdle Jr. gets back with the results of Juniper and Dagwood. And Juniper is actually the one that has
this is where this starts to lose me, because there's a lot of like, continues.
Yeah.
Oh, no, she has the gene, but he has the aura. Oh, but I see the aura and I don't see the gene, and then I saw the gene and I didn't know that. And like, it's like, oh, like I'm done. I don't care though. Like,
yeah, it's all just very not necessary. Like,
and you're confusing me more. Like,
like we're gonna find out that TBK was like Betty's uncle or something stupid in the last episode. Like it was Alice's brother or something stupid like that. Like I'm just kind of over the whole like it doesn't all need to be here, Riverdale.
No.
Like, we don't need any of this.
Or like focus on the aura thing. Like leave the DNA thing and focus on like how does she see the aura? Let's work on that.
Yeah.
But they had to bring in this stupid DNA part, and I was like, freaking over it.
I mean, I guess in the grand scheme, they wrapped it in so it kind of made sense, but you're right. At this point in time, I was like, oh my God. So Juniper, I think she can't see it so that you can see the Dagwoods, but like there was just too many people, too many auras.
If it was the first time that we heard about it, it's a different story. Like I'd be like, oh, okay, like what is that? But it's like, guys, it's been like 5 seasons of this shit. Like I'm done. Let's let it go.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Agent Drake theorizes that maybe she can't see people with this MOAO gene. And so she's like, well, yeah, Cheryl also she was able to see. It's like a song. It's a song in this way. By Drake. It's gonna be by Drake.
Julian Drake.
So she wants to test Cheryl, who she's seen the aura around, and also the hospital guy, and see if they had the gene, because those were the last 2 people that she saw the aura around. She's like, okay, cool. Let's test them and see if
how much work is she going through?
My gosh, there's so many things.
So you gotta get their DNA. She's like, yeah, no problem. That's easy.
Yeah, all good. We got this. So that like fuck. So then it cuts to Reggie, and he goes into Veronica's office, and now he wants a cut of this act. He's like,
Reggie pissed me off.
I know. Reggie was
where did you come from? You're so useless.
I hated his character this episode. So he essentially blackmails Veronica, and he says, I have this shit about you putting a hit on your dad, so if you don't want that to get out and Percival to find out, then you're gonna give me a nice sweet 20% off of this show. First of all, was this show supposed to run more than once? Like,
yeah,
here?
Like,
she could have just
she
could have easily just said like, no, we only
it's only one time. Yeah,
it's like a one-time situation. So she's obviously feeling frustrated because now he wants a cut, and he just kind of leaves it at that. He like leaves her with an ultimatum and says, if you don't give me the money, then I will tell Percival. So then it cuts to Tony and Fangs.
Sorry, is that also the moment where like Jughead finds out about Hiram, like her killing Hiram? Or is that after?
Oh, yeah. I think so, maybe. Or no, I think after, actually. Okay. Because I think this talk is between just them two.
Yeah, okay.
It's just them two. So then Tony and Fangs, cuts to Tony and Fangs. Fangs is all excited. He's like, I just bought a car. Tony's like, what the fuck? Like,
dude,
she's like,
I knew this was about to pop off the minute she was like, whose car is that outside? I was like, he just put a lease down on a car. I didn't tell her. Oh no. Yeah, and then like, he was like, oh, I already bought a car. Like, I got a job for one day. Like, what?
Yeah. So Fangs, so he's like, yeah, I'm working for Percival now.
NBD.
I'm making 3 times the amount of money. And Tony literally tells him, she's like, are you fucking stupid?
She's like, he is literally the evil devil. Like, worst one.
Yeah. And Fangs is like, yeah, it's totally fine. Like, I know I can ground my like self in something. And like,
yeah, like Archie told me I could like tether myself to like the table, and like I'm totally gonna do that. Like, shut up.
Like, bro, what are you talking about? You can barely spell tether. Like, get out of here. Like, God. So he's like, yeah. He's like, I'll be careful, but the money's so good. Like, I don't want to be a deadbeat. So fine. Obviously, like, this is the point. These are the points in time where I wish like Tony pushed back a little bit, because she just has the patience of an angel. And I know that she had so much patience for Cheryl. So obviously we have to gift Fangs the same level of patience.
Yeah.
So she's just being hella patient in this moment with him.
I think you see someone who is trying so hard to hold on to this idea or this like family unit, because she's maybe scared of losing it. Like, we see how she reacts obviously at the end, like what she says to him at the end, but like you're right, in this moment I want her to blow up on him and be like, what the F is your problem? But like she like reevaluates it in her mind and she's like, no, okay, just stay calm. Like,
exactly, because I think in her head she's thinking first and foremost about Anthony and losing Anthony. So she's like, fine, if this crazy guy wants to do this, like, sure, like he's doing something.
What will be so sad is like if she does end up losing baby Anthony and like she tried all of these things still. Like,
yeah, exactly. Which I don't think is going to be the case for her. Yeah. Tony's going to win at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Heather and Cheryl, and they're talking, and Heather's reading her tarot cards, and she pulls one, and she's like, oh, this one means like change. And then this one, she flips it and she's like, oh, this is like love is like in your
horny
life.
Like this like horny person.
You're getting up in that
like,
gig.
Have you been intimate with anyone? Like,
she's like, wink, wink. Yeah. She's like, between her and like Agent Drake, they're just like sussing these girls out to see if they're single. I was dying
because it was like the scene right after him. Yeah. I was like, what is up with these hornified girls? Like,
horny today.
They're trying to like get the tea. They're like,
yeah. She's like, wink, wink. Are you in love or need to be in love? And then her last card is the Tower, and she says how the Tower like is all about like tumultuous like evil and darkness, and there's like all this, a storm is a brewing apparently. So
a brewing.
I was like, okay, thank you for that information. I already know the world is coming to an end. So then it cuts to Archie and Tabitha at the hospital because this guy got electrocuted. And Archie basically says, he's like, I don't know what happened there, because it must have been the jukebox.
He was like pissed at her.
He was pissed.
Like, what did you do? Like, your machine's like broken.
Yeah, you fucking killed my guy.
You electrocuted my boy.
I know. And Tabitha like conveniently said, she's like, I checked it 5 minutes before that. Like, someone came in.
I've been servicing that jukebox for the last 2 years, and I just got a service 2 months ago. Like,
yeah.
She like had
she's
the
like,
receipts.
nothing's wrong with the jukebox.
It was cute though. Like, she's so on top of everything.
Yeah. She's like, you have an issue? I already know. So then it cuts to Veronica and Jughead talking about Reggie's blackmail. So this is when
he has just to say what happened.
This is when she has to say it, and he's like, true, like I kind of had an idea that you were the one that was up for it.
Well, she says it like so cash. She's like, oh, like he knows that like I basically killed my dad. So and Jughead's like, what? He's like, what? And she's like, yeah, I killed him.
Yeah.
You know, I've made peace with it. I'm okay with it. So you should be too. And Jughead's like, all right, I'm good. Like, it's totally fine. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's your dad.
You're bad to make, girl, with that fucking portrait that you keep somewhere, God knows where. So this is when she kind of goes to the next extreme, which is she asks Jughead if he can wipe Reggie's memory, like if he has the power to erase memories. And Jughead says, I've never done it before. It might be possible. Like, let me look into it. But yeah, so that's kind of her plan to write.
I do like how Jughead's ability is like growing, like from last week where like he helped Betty with like that one thing, and like now he's doing like reverse memory, like he's taking it away trauma. Like it's cool, like we're seeing how strong his power actually is.
For sure. I will say, and I know that we're laughing about the fact that like Betty and her aura is this episode, but I was waiting for her to finally have like a moment with
Me too.
Only because like we got a lot of Archie and the Palladium and him like this and that and whatever. Like we barely got a lot of like aura stuff. We didn't get a lot of mind reading stuff. So it feels like this was the episode for them to kind of show what's happening with their powers right now. So then it cuts to Tabitha and she gets to Pops, and as she's like getting to the front, she sees from the outside that it's like a diner full of people just like hanging out.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the F? So she walks in and it's completely empty except that jukebox that's in the corner is like flickering away. And then she sees like a hot pot of coffee. Like it's like there was like a meal like cooked, like sitting there in front of her. She's like, what the hell's happening? So then Archie later talks to Tabitha about the fact that the diner might be haunted. And Archie's like, you know what? I'm so sorry, but half of my crew already quit. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to get all that stuff out in time. And Archie's like, I really need to talk to Frank because like he's obviously on the other side of this. Yeah. Let's see if I can get some help to like get this thing done for you. Because at this point, Archie's like, yo, my people like already like cleaned out your place like 7 times and it just keeps getting reset. What the fuck? So then it cuts to the White Worm, and Archie is now trying to mend things with Frank. And Frank is like, I don't know how to describe him, but like he's not the character that we, I think, grew to love over the last like 3 seasons.
He's like a zombie of himself right now.
He's like a zombie of himself. Like he was saying, like, because he was talking about how Fred, like, you know, Archie's talking about his dad, and he's like, you know, my dad would not want us to see us like fight like this. And Frank just like outright is like, your dad was an idealist, and like just leaves it. Like he doesn't explain himself. He doesn't like give him any more information past that. And then Archie obviously pulls like a nice little moment where he slides a picture of him of Frank and Fred as kids, and they're like wearing construction hats, super cute.
Yeah.
And he's like, can we just try to work this out? And then in that moment, Frank kind of looks at the picture and he smiles, and like, as the audience, even I was like, "Oh, sick!" Like,
and the music changed,
coming
like,
around.
It was like, I was like, "Aw!"
It's like the Riverdale theme song. Yeah, I was like, oh, "Okay, like that's cute." Like he's coming around. Like, finally, these kids
they're getting to them emotionally, or like they're touching them emotionally, which is like what we've been trying to say. Like, pull them through somehow. Like, try.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that doesn't happen.
It was like short lived. No, not even.
Not even. It was all real. It wasn't fake. So then it cuts to the FBI office, and both Cheryl and the orderly do not have the serial killer gene. So Drake then hypothesizes that Betty's blind spot is this gene that she has, the MOA-OA-OA. So Betty thinks that if there's a way to not have this blind spot, and Drake says, you probably have to like now work that muscle. Now that you're aware of it mentally, you might be able to like work the muscle. She doesn't really explain it that well.
Okay, so sorry. What they're saying is so whoever has the MOMAAA gene, she can't see their aura.
She cannot see their aura, which is why she probably couldn't see TBKs, which is why she can't see Alice. Like she couldn't see certain people's, right? Okay. Like Alice also has the gene, so she should be able to see it whenever she's being threatening, whatever.
Oh, and then Juniper has the gene. That's why Juniper she didn't see Juniper's red aura. She only saw the boys. So she only saw the boys because they're both evil, basically.
Yeah, they're both evil. Okay. It doesn't matter if you haven't.
Doesn't matter if you see the freaking aura.
They're gonna drown that cat. Evil. They're gonna fucking murder the cat.
Like don't give the cat back.
Which also like we never even follow up on the fact that like these kids need therapy, like deep.
Yeah, well, therapy. Alice is their like grandma, so like she's not gonna take them to therapy.
That's true. These kids are doomed, basically, is what you're trying to say. So she says, she's like, now that you're mentally aware that this is a situation, maybe your brain will now switch to try to like think about those things. See the aura, even though they have the gene. And then this is when we get another moment where Drake is like, oh, like, so how is it like living with your boyfriend right now?
Like, how's it going? Like,
how's it going?
Like, you know?
So my theory was, and it doesn't happen this episode, so I guess I could talk about it. I was wondering if Drake was going to move in with Archie and Betty and like live at the Archie house. Just because it changes up the dynamic a little bit. Maybe Agent Drake doesn't have a place to live in Riverdale.
Wait, you think she was going to move in with Archie?
Yeah, I thought that she was going to be like, oh, hey, because again, she asked about the boyfriend thing. And at this point, I felt like it was a little out of place. Like the first time she talks about the boyfriend, I was like, ha, 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 ha. But then this time when she was like, how's it going living with your boyfriend? Like Betty's like, why are you asking? Like,
yeah, no, it
such
was
a
weird.
random thing to say. So I was like, oh, maybe it's leading to like Drake saying, oh, like, would you want another roommate? Like, would I be able to hang out with you guys too?
Like in your bed?
Yeah, like in your bed and minus your boyfriend, just me and you. Can we have sleepovers? Yeah. I don't know. Do you think that that's even a possibility? I wish she cut to
Betty's face and like I wish she was like why are you asking me that? Like it's a little random.
It's very random. Like at that point in time, I was like, why are you even asking this question? There's no need for it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't really know what the point of Drake asking that question outside of the fact that she's like hitting on Betty, I guess, this whole time. But it's good to have an alternate, so why not?
Look, here's the thing. Again, it's just very inappropriate because like she's asking you for your help like professionally, and the first thing you do is like try to hit on her. Like she already had that with the other guy. Now again, it's like with like just can you just be a coworker for like a minute
for 5 minutes
before you hit on her? Like
stop talking about her boyfriend and let's just get this moving.
Yeah.
So anyway, she talks about that. Then it cuts to Heather and Cheryl talking about Tabitha and or talking to Tabitha about the ghosts, and they're like, well, Heather talks about the fact that she like kind of saw ghosts and she has like some spiritual abilities. So she's like, I might be able to help you with that. Like maybe we can do a seance or something. So sure enough, at Pop's Diner, Heather casts some like magical spell and she calls on them. And they talk to this random waitress who basically, because I think this is when Tabitha admits, or she tells them it is true that, you know, she talked to Pops and apparently there were some people who actually died in Pops, like while they were at Pops. And even this waitress has like a scar on her face. Like maybe she got burned
like
by coffee, like
burn
who
or
knows?
Something.
Like, she died. But they never really get into it. Anyway, they're talking to this waitress. And the waitress says, like, we're not leaving because we need to witness this, like, crazy battle that you guys are about to have. And they tell her, like, yo, there's a train that's going to be put in here. And the waitress kind of gives them a clue in that the train is, like not just Tabitha a regular train.
Tabitha was like, he's going to build a train. And she's like, wait, what? A train? And then she's like, why? And she's like, the ghost train.
She's like, it's the ghost train. And we're like, oh, okay. So like they're just adding that extra element that it's a ghost train. So I guess the assumption is that the ghosts will come into Riverdale on the train and like take over the evil spirits, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. And so they kind of make a deal. They're like, you got to work with us. Like Cheryl was so cute. She's like, girl, like you're dead. You got to move. Like we gotta keep this moving. So she tells them they'll be okay to shut down Pops for a very short period of time, or they...
She's like, don't put us into storage.
No, she's like, no, not cold storage.
We don't go into storage.
Like somewhere special.
Only 15 hours.
She's like, only 10 hours. I need to be here.
Yeah.
So she's like, or we like disappear. Like they basically like just
yeah, like because they can't survive without being in the walls of like Pops, I guess.
In the walls of Pops, being in the jukebox. And they said that they cannot witness the fight. And they also said they cannot beat the Eldritch Evil.
Yeah.
And I had to write that down because shout out to Chaos, shout out to Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yep.
She goes against the Eldritch Terrors. For anyone who has or hasn't watched it, she goes through fighting them in the final season. And that's kind of like her big task. So I wonder, I really honestly need to go back. They're definitely connected, and that is why she's probably going to show up. Because my thing is like, maybe she's coming, maybe Sabrina will come to Riverdale to help stop the Eldritch Evil, which makes sense to me. But also I'm like, why is this not just in Chaos? Like, why are we why are we in Riverdale right now? And why didn't we get that storyline? It'll be really interesting to see how they wrap this into how Chilling Adventures of Sabrina ended, because Sabrina ended in a very like weird way. Like everyone was kind of upset about how it ended. I wonder if they're going to change the story or if it's going to be a continuation of that story.
That's what I'm wondering too. Yeah,
because there was never a mention of her going to Riverdale to like fix anything.
Yeah,
right? Like she wasn't like, I'm gonna go to Riverdale to talk to Archie about this, like at any point in time in Chaos. So I wonder what they're gonna do with that. Then it cuts to the FBI office, and this is when we see Alice going off on Betty. Like she is pissed. She's pissed about the fact that she took the twins. How dare you take them? They're under my care. And Betty basically says like, yo, the house that you're living in is a murder house. Like it is evil. There's just like so much bad in that house. And this is when Alice gets super, super upset. And then that's when Betty starts to see her TikTok aura.
Yeah.
And she freaks out. She's like, oh snap, like now I can see my mom. She's like wilding out. So then it cuts to then it was really interesting. I don't know what you were thinking, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, does that mean that she's gonna like try to hurt her?
Yeah, like, I don't know. I was wondering the same thing. Like,
but I think they do clean it up later where she talks to Drake about the fact that it's either emotional or physical damage that she's about to do. Like that's what the aura means.
Ooh, I wish it was like purple for emotional and then red for like physical.
Yeah,
that would be cool. But because
we don't need any more colors.
That's true. Because like Alice does like rip into Betty in that moment, and it was really savage. And she was like, "You're not even the greatest daughter." Like, no.
Yeah,
like it was so rude, and I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, it was pretty tight. So then it cuts to Archie at home, and he's talking to Tabitha about moving the diner into the El Royale. And he's like, I'm down, sounds good. And this is when Frank also comes in and says, you know, I saw the picture ever since you showed me the picture.
Yeah.
I changed my tune. I'm totally down to like wink, wink. Call in sick tomorrow.
I'm on your side now. Like, I love you again.
And I LOU. And then he's like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, I'll come by with some of the boys to help with Pop Signer. Then it cuts to Archie and Betty. They finally catch up after a long, hard day at work. And Betty says that she's going to also help with the move. And he's like, okay, cool, thanks, bye.
Cute scene, though. They're so cute together.
Yeah, they are really cute. I know. I'm just kind of glazing over it. But like every single moment that they have,
like, you don't have to do that. She's like, no, I want to. Like, I want to help you.
She's like, I'm gonna help you. Yeah. She's like, also like, you need my aura because Frank is bad. But cool. Like that was the only reason why she was there.
Yeah, that's true.
So then it cuts to Jughead, and he's like reading a book on like wiping minds, and he tells Veronica, I think it's like a bit of a montage. She's like, yes, actually, I can do it. But it has to be at a certain like a same kind of idea that he had to do with Alice, where like he had to like slide into his mind at some point, like somehow,
while they're there, or like
while he was like not focused on his mind or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's counting the cut in her office, and while he's counting the cut, he's I guess focused on the counting the money.
Yeah.
That Jughead is able to jump in, and then it's kind of set up the same way that he was for Betty's mind, where there's like a desk and like the comics on the side. So he's going through the comics and he finds the one where like she tells him about her dad, and then he rips it right out of the book. And then like Jughead like kind of winks at her and is like, I got it, girl. Like, I guess that seemed a lot easier than you made it sound. And did you think that when he ripped the comic that like Reggie was gonna have like a full like stroke and like pass out or something? Like I thought it was gonna be a very extreme thing,
like reaction. Yeah,
but it didn't seem very invasive because he's you like, know, mind wiping sounds pretty intense.
Yeah, and you know it would be really cool if like along the way if they try this again or like something, like there has to be consequences to them like dabbling in these things, right? So like I would be 100% down for something like that, you know?
Yeah. Like even in this moment, she does it and then he like whatever passes out or has to be hospitalized or something, then maybe Veronica can have a moment and be like, oh damn, like I really do have to face the consequences of my actions. Like I can't just like cover up all of my mistakes constantly, because even though it's shitty that Reggie's blackmailing her, she's also trying to run away from the fact that she actually did kill her dad.
Exactly.
Like, So for him to just be like, oh, I forgot, like she gets to get away scot-free again. It's kind of not fair. So anyway, he rips it, and then suddenly as Reggie is like counting, he's like, oh, and then she takes the money back, and then he's like, you better give me that money or else
I'll tell on you. And then she's like, tell me in what?
Tell me what?
He's like,
tell me what?
That thing. And she's like, what thing, bitch?
Yeah.
And he's like,
so he's completely forgotten it. Jughead's like, yay, I totally like damaged my friend's mind, my high school friend's mind forever. Then it cuts to Pop's diner, and the ghosts have helped move things out of the place.
So cute.
So good job, ghosts. Thank you for that.
You guys are awesome.
Then it cuts to Cheryl and Heather, and Cheryl kind of calls her out. She's like, you know that thing that you were doing with those people, like the ghosts, like that's necromancy. And actually, this is the point in time where it's being able to bring people back from the dead. Like,
oh yeah,
it has to do with like death and like bring people back from the dead. So this is when Heather actually, I thought that she told her earlier, but this is actually when she tells her that she is a witch.
Yeah. She says it at the end. She's like, oh yeah, I am a witch.
PS. Like, yeah. So I don't know what she was doing up top, but she tells her finally by the end of the episode that she is a witch. And she thinks that Cheryl might be as well.
Yeah.
And even at this point, it was funny because I guess because we knew her in Riverdale and we saw that whole story, like Cheryl as her ancestors and even in Riverdale is like a fully realized witch. Like she knows that she's a witch.
And I forget that sometimes that like that's not the case in this world.
Because in Riverdale, she's like, oh, I always thought that I was a witch,
but
I maybe
I could be. Yeah.
I'm like, you prayed for the wind like 2 seasons ago. We'll never forget the fact that you prayed for the wind.
Pray for the wind.
I prayed for the wind. So she says like, Cheryl, you might be a witch as well. And then Cheryl's like, I'm also a pyrokinetic. And then she like lights two candles.
I can light on fire.
She's like, everything's on fire.
It's hot in here, isn't it?
So hot. So then Cheryl, this is when Cheryl says, like, teach me everything you know. Like, I'd love to learn from you. And Heather's like, I'm down. So I think this is the last time actually we see her.
Yeah.
How are your feelings about Heather now by the end of the episode?
I like it. I like the storyline. I'm excited to see what Cheryl can learn from her.
Yes.
Do I wish it was more of a Sabrina influence? Kind of, yeah. Like, I feel like that role should have been Sabrina.
Kieran and Shipka.
And
agreed.
For whatever reason, they couldn't with Netflix. Maybe logistically it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Because we have a witch part of this universe. Like she is our witch.
It's true. You're right.
So that's kind of where I see a little bit of a miss, but I don't mind it still.
A flip of that would have been to bake Heather into Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah, they wouldn't have known that though. They wouldn't have.
But they knew about Heather in like season 2. So technically, Chaos didn't start until like season 3, season 4.
Yeah.
If they were, they just obviously didn't think this.
They don't think about those things, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But like how easy would it have been to just make a Heather character in that show? Maybe never show her, like you could like mention her.
Yeah.
But then like that would have been sick. We would have been like, oh yeah, that was that girl from Chaos.
Like Heather, I never made the connection. Like what an Easter egg. That's amazing. Yeah. You guys are such geniuses.
I don't know.
Instead, it's like, I guess she was a witch maybe in the other town. She could be real or she
That's why I almost feel like she could be maybe lying about who she really is or like where she's from.
Yeah. A part of me feels like the twist of the season or one of the twists of the season is when they're having this standoff, like Heather like goes to the other side beside Percival.
That'd be
and
crazy.
It's like, I got the dirty on her. Because technically when you think about it, Cheryl is the biggest threat to Percival in terms of her being able to like basically boil his body on site. Like she can just light him on fire and call it a day. So if Heather is this person that's basically working for Percival, then she'll like gain Cheryl's trust, teach her how to do magic, but then maybe she'll have to betray her at some point, and then Cheryl's going to be like, you bitch. And then all the CHONI fans are going to
how did Cheryl get a hold of her?
She like found her in a book. Like she found her, like I think she just found her on the internet, and she realized that she was working in a library.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like anything magic or anything special. So it'll be interesting to see if so do you feel like that's too far-fetched if she works for Percival? I guess, like, if you're saying that, like, if she was called on by Percival, it would be a different story, is what you're saying.
If she was called on by, okay, so what I was just thinking was, like, if Heather is really dead, like, what if she is a ghost?
Oh.
And like the first couple of times that Cheryl tried to get a hold of her, like, she couldn't get a hold of her. Like, she didn't get back to her, or like whatever, like she didn't get her message or whatever the case might have been. I don't know.
Right.
And then maybe somehow, like, obviously it didn't happen, but like it would have been cool if like she like did a spell, or like she did a spell, like it didn't work, but then Heather like showed up or something, but then like the spell really did work, and like she did like bring her back or something.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? But then Cheryl really doesn't even know that she did that.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
But I don't think they'll do that, because then
yeah, maybe not.
And like even the way she was like, my mom's dead, like maybe she died in that accident too.
She died in an accident too. No, that's true. That's a really good theory.
That would be cool. But
I literally hope that half of your theories come true. So maybe this one comes true too. So anyway, then it cuts to Reggie talking to Percival about forgetting. He was like, I was there and then I totally forgot what I was gonna say. And Percival is kind of like, he's realizing, he's like, something's happening there. He's on to Jughead. He kind of knows something's up, which I don't know why we needed this scene. Obviously, Percival already knows that they're a threat, but I guess this is like an extra layer. Then it cuts to Pop's Diner, and everything's being
real
closed.
Quick. Yeah. Wouldn't this also show that like Percival, like Veronica isn't working for Percival then? Because like she's screwing over Reggie, right?
She's going against him. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so I guess we would. I guess we got to cross,
unless he's gonna like pluck her when he needs her, kind of thing.
Which is still possible, right?
Yeah,
I think that's
totally.
Like a sleeper agent kind of situation.
Totally. Yeah.
So then it cuts to Pop's Diner, and Betty sees Frank close up the truck that is gonna move all this stuff to the El Royale, and she notices that his aura is now red. So she goes to tell Archie, and he goes to confront Frank. He's like, yo, I don't know what you're going to do, throw this into Sweetwater River or what, but like, you're not bringing this to El Royale. What the hell are you doing? And Frank kind of comes back. He's like, oh, you found me out, yo. And he's like, I got a palladium ring. Like, don't try me. And I know that I'm turning him into like basically a redneck, but like, that's what he looks like to me now. I'm like, I hate you so much, Frank.
I love that his answer was only to punch Archie. Like he had nothing else to say or do. He's like,
zero things. He's like, yeah. So he punches him, but he breaks his hand because Archie's like, he warns him too. He was like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. So he punches him.
Oh, I didn't realize Frank had palladium in his hand. Wow.
Yeah, because he was literally like, I know your secret, but I'm still gonna punch your ass. And then he tells Frank to like fuck off. He basically says like,
I hate that.
Loser.
I hated the storyline because I was like, you made us get to that emotional part, and like it still didn't work on Frank. So it's like,
and that you're absolutely right. And that's the thing. It's like all these characters are having these moments where you want them to be redeemed. Like how strong of a
what other thing are you going to do now to bring Frank back?
Yeah, like does Percival literally need to be murdered in order for you to like have the click moment? Like I don't know if I'm okay with that. Like
no, I wasn't okay with that.
Alice and Frank and Kevin to finally be like, oh my god, we were under a crazy spell. Thank you. Yeah. Like I don't know. Then don't show them.
It's recycled again.
Don't have them here.
Recycled. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not even just that. I think it's more just like you give them like free will, but it's not free will if they're doing these things on their own accord. Like, are they doing it on their own accord?
And also like
what's the deal?
I would love if they, maybe not all of them, like maybe, you know, Alice still stays, but like maybe if Frank was like, yeah, what the am I doing? Yeah. And then he like snaps out of it. At least one of them could be like on their side now.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Like, and like I just feel like we're too far. Like there's too many people on one side for no reason. Like we still don't even know why. Why is did Reggie learn a magic trick? Nothing. He learned nothing.
Yeah.
So anyway, one funny moment from this before we move on, Betty's face after he like punches him and tells him to leave. I was dying because she's just like awkward. Like she just like makes this, she's like, this is so weird. Like punching your uncle because he tried to steal a bunch of shit. So then it cuts to Pops in the El Royale. So it's set up. It's kind of cute actually.
It is cute. Yeah.
So it's all set up. And Pops is super happy. He's like, wow, you guys even did like a really nice paint job. And then Tabitha's like, shout out to Benjamin Moore
coming through once again.
Once again. She even says it again. Like she even says like, thank you again to Benjamin Moore. And she's like, and that means that the ghosts are still going to be here to witness the battle. So like, I'm lit for this situation. Then it cuts to Tony and Fangs, and they finally have their final talk. And Tony, her whole tune has changed. She's like, before I met you, I used to be so independent, so fiercely independent. But now I feel like we need to like unite. I need to like hear your ideas. We need to become more of a family. So she asks if he wants to get married. And even Fangs is like, what the F? Like, where did this even come from? Yeah. And sure enough, I'm sure even the audience was like, what the hell? Like, I didn't even know where the hell she was going with this. But then, of course, we get a flashback and it shows us that she's talking to Janet, the social worker. Yeah. And she's basically worried. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to win this. And Janet says, like, you need to, like, look like you're a united front. Like, you need to, like, show...
you need to be married, basically.
The strength. Yeah. Basically, you need to be married. So we do realize that Tony, at this point in time, is basically just doing it to get her son back.
Yeah.
What did you think of that whole kind of, like,
I mean, I understood it, right? Like, you could see it in the beginnings, too. And I think she's just desperate to do anything that will keep her family together and will keep her son.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not excited about it because, like, she's not in love with Fangs.
She's not in love with him.
It's just like a technicality, but we'll see what happens with it, I think.
Like, are we gonna see another wedding? Like,
no, I don't think we'll get that far.
Okay,
I don't think we'll get that far.
Because I don't want to deal with any of it.
No.
Unless it's gonna be like a very
unless like Cheryl moment. Like stops her like Ross and Rachel style. Yeah.
I guess.
But like whatever, they could just get divorced.
Yeah. Just separate. So then it cuts to Betty and Agent Drake talking, and she's recapping the fact that she has this gene, and because she now sees it in her mom, who also had the MOA gene, Drake thinks that her powers are now developing even further, which is like plus sign for Betty, like she's getting some power uppage too.
Yeah.
But the final scene that we see, Betty's like,
she's like explaining it.
Yeah, so she's explaining it, and she's like, I see it in someone else, and I'm not really sure what to think about it because this person.
She's like, I don't know her.
She's like, what's her?
I don't know her, and I'm like, bitch, you know her. It's you.
Yeah, it's you. Like, so the final shot is her seeing it in like herself. A mirror, like a TikTok mirror, of herself, and that's how the episode ends.
Yeah, it was sick though. It was cool.
It was cool.
If you listen to our podcast last week, we did semi talk about if it's possible that she could be the TBK, or she could be making it up in her mind, or she could be some sort of form of this, you know, this villain and this person. So does this now allude to that a little bit? Yeah, kind of a little bit. So,
or if she has some sort of relation,
seeing herself as that, you know. So interesting
we'll see
ending.
What happens next week? But why don't we get into our recap Roundups?
Let's do it.
Recap Roundups.
Best moment. My best moment, I think I'm gonna give it to the Jughead and Veronica scenes, just because it was such a, you know, we never get to see them together, and ultimately, like, it was a cool scene to see how far Jughead is pushing his ability. I did appreciate that, so that was
I was
best
into
moment.
That.
Yeah,
my best moment's gonna go to Jughead erasing Reggie's mind, because I know that it was like such a short part of the entire episode, but I liked those scenes when he goes into people's minds and now he's actually able to erase someone's mind, and like what follows after, like that's unlocking like another level of his power, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Who's your, or what was your WTF moment?
WTF moment. WTF moment. I put down Agent Drake being like, do you have a boyfriend? Like, do you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? But then also the ending, I think right now, like with Betty, like being like, it was me.
It was me all along.
So that was also like, oh my God.
Yeah, for sure. My WTF moment is gonna go to Tony proposing, because I was literally shocked. I was like, what the F are you doing, girl? But it all does make sense by the time you get to like the flashback.
Yeah.
MVP.
Who's your MVP?
MVP, like I don't want to keep choosing Tabby, but I'm gonna have to keep choosing Tabby because like every time she's in the episode, I'm just like, yeah, it's her. Like it's really her.
She's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Mine is gonna go to Heather. I know I'm kind of being controversial because
so controversial.
The last episode, everybody could not stand her. And honestly, I think we do need to give her a chance, whether she's good or bad or whatever. She did call out the spirits and did help Tabitha through this issue. Yeah. She was there at the right time. She figured this all out for her. So I'm going to give it to Heather. She pulled some weight for being like a secondary random ass character.
And that's why I don't think she's going to be evil. Like I do think she's on their side of things.
I hope so. I hope that that's going to be the case.
LVP.
Who is your LVP?
My LVP is gonna be Fangs.
Fangs Fogarty.
It's
you, girl. It's you. Yeah, he
for
was
buying the car when like you worked like literally 6 hours. You already bought a car. Like
like relax.
Why?
Yeah, like, that's not how you show that you are a good father.
Yeah. Yep.
My MVP is gonna go to Frank because really I was just disappointed overall with his character this episode, and even more so that he there wasn't even a moment where we can look back and be like, oh, but he had that moment with the picture, because it was all a lie to me. So like now I don't trust him or his actions, just like I don't trust Alice and her actions. So it's just frustrating.
Yeah. The best line.
Or what was your best line?
My best line, I don't know the exact words, but I think it's the scene with Alice and Betty, and like Alice goes in on Betty and she's like, and like she just like loses on her, because I was like, oh, like after everything that you guys have been through together and after everything that she has done for you, like how can you still don't get it? Like you're still hypnotized? You're still under the spell? Like so frustrating. What the hell is wrong with her?
It's just like freaking Frank. Like she's just an idiot.
But Alice is worse because like Alice has been in it since like season 1, episode 1. You know?
Yeah. Like we've spent more time with her, so you'd expect her to grow a little bit or like come through somehow.
If she said it and then she was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry."
Yeah, it's like she said this. She literally says this last season when she tells like Betty, like, you're such a bad like daughter for like not being home. It's like all over again. It's like worse. And like Alice is very abusive. She's very abusive. My best line is gonna go to Betty at the very end when she says, the scary part is I don't know who this person is or who this person is a threat to, herself, anyone who comes close to her, or the people that she loves. So like obviously Betty's going to be fighting for this feeling that she's having, seeing this aura. What is she a threat to? That's some serious ish that she's going to have to deal with now. So sorry about that, Betty. Let's get into our listener roundups. We have a few.
Let's do it.
Running. We have at Shoni5 on it. Our Shoni5 on it says no best moment once again. Very angry about the show. Worst moment / LVP, this serial killer gene. Okay, thank you so much for saying that. They say the fact that Jabitha are a couple but don't have cute / romantic scenes. True. Jughead and Tabitha just don't like ever since she's been away. Like we haven't
like
had
don't
that
kiss
yet.
Or anything.
The fact that Tony is so OOC, I don't really know what that means. I'm too old for these acronyms, y'all. She says, like, I get she loves her son, but there's no way she puts up with Fangs' BS. He's such a effing loser. Doesn't add anything to the plot. He looks greasy and the actor cannot act.
See?
Holy! Cheryl and Heather definitely make me sick. And there's no way Cheryl would be interested in her. It seems like they're setting them up to be together. Kevin needs to F off to no MVP or best line. Wow.
Damn.
I'm so sorry.
Came in heavy.
Heavy hitter.
At MTV Horror, our favorite account name. Best moment, all the Barchie scenes. It's so sweet to see them lean on each other and to see how much Archie cares about Betty. It's so true. Like, they have such cute little moments that I do appreciate. Guys. Like, I'm not forgetting those little moments. They do add to, their relationship.
For sure.
MVP Veronica loved seeing them team up and be successful, at least for now. MVP 2, Hottie Agent Drake. LVP Fangs. And there's an emoji, but I can't tell what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It was like
either.
Fangs ...
Sorry.
We have at Food, Drinks, and Snacks MVP Kevin's absence. That's true.
Very true.
LVP, the red squiggly line Betty sees, it needs to change color. It's Marta K says her best moment was Barchie moving in together. Her LVP Frank, like, what the F is wrong with him? He's pissing me off. MVP Betty for carrying this show on her shoulders. WTF moment, Frank hitting his own nephew just because. Betty and Archie, and then the real Alex Frank says Betty and Archie moving in with each other. So cute. We forgot that Barchie moment. Like, yeah, they moved in together.
Yeah, true.
Legit.
Because they should have been doing that.
Yeah, when they technically they already were. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Do we have any more? Siren, did you get Siren's already?
Checking. Oh yes, let's do hers.
Yeah. Best moment.
Yeah.
Jughead and Veronica's magic show / side convos in the casino and Jughead's house. I love them too as a duo, and I'm glad that we're finally getting them together. Might not be Veronica's shit fantasy, but glad they're doing something and not tied to other people like before. WTF, the ghost bit. It was cool to see Tabitha connecting all the dots, but it felt so odd that Cheryl Blossom, of all people, was gagged and grouped at what was going on. Like, to me, it felt out of character. That's exactly what you were saying. MVP, I say this every week, but when she's in the episode, but Tabitha, mother effing Tate, is just the best. Sis gets shit done, and it's great to have her back. LVP, Fangs, I'm sorry to Drew, but the acting was possibly, oh man, it is just wretched. It's the worst it's been so far, and it's been bad. Like, I don't know what happened, but post time, Jump Drew, Ray Tanner seem to forget how to act, and I feel bad that Vanessa has such a poor scene partner.
Oh my god.
This girl is carrying their plot so hard right now. Whoa. Best line, so how is your boyfriend? From Agent Drake. Jim Halperts. So they say MVP, Archie for helping Tabitha and Pops no matter what, especially Ghosts, and using El Royale. LVP, I could have said Frank, but Fangs, need I say more? Best moment, Jughead turning villain with V. Good team against Reggie. Nice to see those two together. Also, Betty finding out about Frank's aura. WTF moment, as a librarian myself, the sage to set the library's intention. Ha ha ha, but Heather's fine otherwise. Best line, drinks are on me. Here's my chime card. I don't remember.
So I didn't get that. Chime card as in like
I guess it's like a tap. It's like one of those like tappies.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much everyone we got. Thank you so much for putting all of your things in. We always appreciate it, and we always try to get to as many as we can by the end of the episode. So now that we're here, I would like to take this time to thank our patrons of the episode. Our Rewinder squad, we have White, Nicole, and Cliff. Our Lit Rewinders, Tina, Ann, Soleil, and Kate. And our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamala, and Grace.
Thank you, guys. If you'd like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind.
And also make sure you're checking us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can also find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.